Hi, this is Charlie Destries, and we're going to talk about something near and dear to my heart, running a sales territory, especially if you're behind. Let's say it's the first quarter, and here we are near the end of March, and you're not doing very well in your territory for whatever reason, and you've got a big number to really accomplish for the rest of the year. What do you do? Well, a couple of assumptions here. Let's imagine, by the way, I've got just a short segment to pitch here because YouTube limits me to 10 minutes, which is probably a good thing. I could spend hours on this. So let's say you have this territory, and it's a $2 million territory, and you've only sold $200K so far in the first quarter. Let's say the average price is $50K per unit. Your gizmo does something or another that's pretty cool. It's $50,000. And that means that you have to sell, well, let's see, 1.8 million, which is equal to 36 more units before the end of the year. Well, how do you find those 36 units? Well, first of all, if you're going to sell 36 units, it probably means you're looking at 100 opportunities, right? 3-to-1 kind of a ratio. So 3-to-1 ratio, 100 opportunities, 100 qualified people that are probably going to buy something like this. They may buy from your competitor. Hopefully they buy from you. More importantly, whoever doesn't buy, maybe that's a pipeline filler for next year. So it's all good news. How do you find these 100? Well, here you are in this territory in the United States. You happen to be in New England. There's clustered opportunities all over New England, like in other territories as well. And let's say last year you were doing business with Amgen, Novartis, and Pfizer. 90% of your business last year. And let's pretend that they're not going to buy anything this year. They are, by the way, even if they say their capital equipment's frozen. Bullshit. Trust me, they still buy stuff. You just got to go in there and learn who's buying. Okay, but let's say they're not. Okay, well, you got all these other companies in there you haven't done a lot with. Because maybe last year you were kind of resting on your laurels, doing really well with these 3 companies. How do you find them? Well, you got to hustle your ass off. There's no doubt. And one other word I'll say on a seminar could be a day long. You got to change your attitude. If you're negative, if you watch the news too much, you think no one's buying, you think everyone's getting laid off, you think the world's coming to an end. Your wife or your husband just got laid off, your dog isn't working anymore, whatever. You got to get rid of all that notion, and you got to think positive. I'm sorry, you got to do it. In this territory, there's more opportunity. Even if the territory is 20% down in sales over last year, let's say, there's more opportunity in this territory than you can get near. Trust me on that. You will not stay on top of every opportunity in this territory. You just have to work a little harder to find them, and when you find them, you got to work smart. How do you find them? Well, a couple of things you might want to do. Well, you want to maybe do a seminar. Seminars never work, and the boss isn't going to approve it because expenses are tight, and blah, 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 blah. Fine. What I want you to do is collaborate with 1 or 2 other companies that have dovetailing kind of technologies, not competitive, of course, and basically maybe it's a reagent, maybe it's another gizmo, maybe it's software, whatever, a service, but people with other databases. So now you've got 2 or 3 companies. Now the customer that's cocooning in their fancy research laboratory over here, they never leave. They screen your calls. They don't answer your emails. They're not even going to go to trade shows much this year because their traveling expenses cut. You got to figure out a way to drag them out of their cocoon, right? If you can't go in to see them, drag them out to see you. Sure, they want to go to something called lunch. Wow, what a concept. They eat. That does not change. They're going to come to your seminar, especially if there are a couple, 3 things they can justify going to, because they still have to justify to their boss, boss, I'm going to go to a morning seminar or a lunch or an afternoon seminar. They probably won't say lunch. And so the boss says, okay, what is it about? Well, it's about 1 gizmo. I don't know. It's about 3 gizmos. Yeah, okay, maybe you should go. They go. You suddenly have a crowd at this luncheon. And, I'm telling you, you do this right. You're going to have 30, 40 people in this room in Cambridge or in Connecticut or in northern New Jersey, if that's where you are, whatever. It's going to work. You're going to meet new people. They're going to come out of the cubbyhole. They're going to see what you have and your collaborators as well. And now you've met more people. You have more opportunities. So, like I said, hustle, right? Go visit companies, make appointments. Even if they're not buying, find out who the people are there. Call the VPs of research. Start at the top. Don't necessarily start at the bottom. Don't be afraid to talk to the top. Please don't be afraid to talk to those guys. They're dying for phone calls. The higher up an executive get, the fewer people call them. I'm telling you, especially salespeople. Many of them came from sales, and they dig it. So call those guys. Okay, great. You found an opportunity. What's the worst thing people do now? The thing that they almost always do when they find an opportunity. Here's the sales line, okay? The initial contact and the order. I like that. Okay, so initial contact and the order. Most of the time, salespeople spend all their time down here. And what they do is they bring in the specialist. And they send literature, and they may maybe even take them to a webinar, or meet with them again or set up an evaluation or whatever. They don't ask the hard questions. Hard questions right here before you get to any resource allocation from your company. Okay, do you have the budget? Great. Do you have sign-off authority? If not, who does? How far up do you have to go to get sign-off for 50K? By the way, today that's changing, right? Because of the economy, the sign-off goes higher. In the old days, maybe a person had 25K. Now that 25K is their boss or their boss. So you're going to find out who they are. Great. You're going to need to touch base with those people. You tell them right up front. Great. That's super. So it's 2 guys up. And who is that person? It's Joe Smith. Great. I'll make sure my boss gives Joe Smith a call just to introduce himself because we like to make sure that we have all the questions answered right up front. Tell them you're going to go talk to people in his organization. Now, that may sound a little bit, crossing the line, but trust me, try it. Some people might say, no, but you won't find out until you ask, okay? So, but the important thing is this. Before you get to resource allocation, before you put it on that forecast, my friend, qualify it. Oh, God, it's such an old thought. Qualify it to death, all right? And that includes technical qualification. So you may have a 3-way phone call with a technical guy at the home office. It means financial qualification. They have the budget. It means that, it's time qualification. They're thinking this year, like in the next 90 days, because if it's next year, that's cool, but don't resource it right now. You qualified it, now resource it. What are you going to do there? Oh, you're going to do a demo? Great, but make sure before you do that demo that you actually do something called a webinar, or at least a 3-way call with your technical person to make sure that their expectations are set with that demo. The last thing you want to do is bring it in to find out that it really can't do it. It needed to go to 780 nanometers. You can only go to 700. Boom. That's dead in the water. Thousands of dollars down the drain and time down the drain. That's the one thing you can't get more of is time. Remember, we have to get 36 of these before the end of the year. So great. I've got about 2 minutes left. 2-minute warning. All right, here we go. 2-minute offense. Now you're here and you've done the webinar. You've done the technical qualification. And by the way, qualify. Once it's qualified, qualify again before you do a demo. If it's an evaluation, don't ever do an evaluation or a demo. Unless the question is, if I put out this resource for you, then you're going to give me an order, right? If it meets your expectations, right? They say, yes, great. Make sure you know what those expectations are. It needs to be done in 1 minute. The color has to be blue. The data has to be in an Excel spreadsheet. It's a Fred assay, so, I have to make sure my reagents are working. Whatever the case is, make sure everything's listed. So that way when the demo comes and you do it, you go, we met this. When can I expect the order? Right? You keep closing and qualifying all the way through. You do a good job there. Let me tell you guys, you do a real good job here. This is a 2-for-1. You only need to find 70 of these. Okay? Do a decent job. It's a 3-for-1. Hustle. And do this part really well. Use technology to your advantage in terms of a webinar, so that way you're not wasting time and resources before you actually do the demo, the demo or the evaluation. You want to double check things. Do a cross check. Have your boss call the same person you're talking to make sure that they hear something. Maybe they hear something you don't hear. That's really important. Don't be afraid to do that. It spreads the risk. It dilutes things. So if things don't work out and it's on the forecast, everybody knows why it's not working. It's not just you and credibility. Third thing is hustle your butt off. I only have about a few seconds left, so I'm basically going to say. What I would do at this point is, can't turn this stupid thing off. What I would do at this point is recognize that now you're going to find opportunities. You're going to qualify the hell out of those opportunities. You're going to use your resources wisely. You're going to use webinars wisely. You're going to use video, email. You're going to send a card in the mail to thank them. You're going to do all these things to these qualified people because remember, there's only 100 of them. It's not 1,000, and you're going to close as many of them as you can. This is Charlie Destries. I hope this helped. Let me know. And we'll do them over the internet because, hey, why not? It's a lot less expensive. Have a great biotech day. Smile.
You know what I'm saying? Be positive. Be optimistic. Really, it could work. See you later. Bye.